Hi everyone, this is Christine with Black Tea News, and I want to talk about Chris Harrison again because I want to talk about this Good Morning America interview, and just it was like beyond sad. Before we hop into it, make sure you go to blacktnews.com, check out other content that I have. Make sure that you check out the store. I'm sure you'll find something you love, and we're adding stuff all the time. And if you would like to support, you can always leave a gift for Black Tea News. I really appreciate that. Whatever you guys can do, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, whatever platform you're on, and hit the notification bells and whistles, whatever they are, so you can get an update on the latest video when it drops. So Chris Harrison, poor guy, and he wants you to know he's not a victim and so on, and he said so in the interview, but he went on Good Morning America to relay that he was sorry for what he had done, what he said. And they're like, well, why did Michael Strahan was the one who conducted the interview, and they're like, well, why did you say something? And he's like, I should have never said anything. I apologize. I was wrong.
I am an imperfect man. I made a mistake, and I own that. I believe that mistake doesn't reflect who I am or what I stand for.
So right there, I'm upset watching it, and it was so cringy to watch. It was just painful because he wanted people to have grace for this girl. He said, I want people to have grace for her. Not that she can get away with this. Like, I'll ask her, I'll press her on these things. We'll get to the bottom of it, but just like give her some time and so on. People didn't like that. People didn't like that he didn't just fall over Rachel Lindsay and take whatever she said. People didn't like that he said woke police, even though they know that they are the woke police. They don't like being acknowledged in such a way. I didn't like that he apologized and he said he should have never did it. You should have never stuck up for the girl and said, have some grace for this person. You should have just thrown her under the bus initially with everyone else. You should never stick up for somebody, even though people might be not considering their intent, or just because someone is ignorant doesn't mean that they are racist or anything like that. So at least just having some compassion on some level for people and accepting that people are flawed. My problem with this outrage culture and this wokeness and this is just that there's no redemption. And it's like the antithesis to the gospel. People demanding your forgiveness with no intention of actually forgiving you. There's no chance of redemption. They want you to apologize, but you can't be redeemed. You can't get absolution. It's just, we have to hammer you, and you were always going to be shunned. We may let you back in after you submit to us, but we're not going to ever truly forget what you did. And Michael Strahan, after this interview, he was like, I don't know if he sincerely meant it.
And you guys know his apology is his apology, but it felt like it got nothing more than a surface response on any of this. And obviously, he's the man who wants to clearly stay on the show, but only time will tell if there is any meaning behind his words.
Maybe he didn't sincerely mean it because he was backed into a corner, and he did what you guys made him do, what Disney made him do, and or what he thought Disney had to make him do, which is interesting because we know Lucasfilm under Disney wanted Gina Carano to apologize a certain kind of way, insincerely. They were like, you can't use facts. We need you to talk emotionally to these people. They sent their LGBT reps to her. They want her to get a call with 40 different LGBT people. And she's like, I'm not about to be like conned and berated and recorded. Like, let me take out 5 people and we can get to know each other and understand one another. And I can look in their eyes and they can look in my eyes. They can say I'm not a hateful person. And Disney said, nope. Lucasfilm said, nope, no thank you. And they got rid of her. They didn't tell her they got rid of her. They waited for another convenient excuse. But that was basically when the separation began. So it's interesting that Disney, it seems like they have this, like, I don't know, this growing sort of like indoctrination philosophy for people who, if you make a mistake, you got to go through the camp. You got to go through the campgrounds. So Chris Harrison is trying to pay penance right now. This interview isn't his last stop on his like apology tour, and it's just sad to watching it. Like, he's being held hostage. That's what it looks like. So even though he went on the show, he gave his apology, Michael Strahan's like, I don't know if he doesn't really seem sincere. Well, he did what you guys wanted. Like, how can you judge someone's sincerity? If I had to guess, I would say he's probably sorry about all the reactions he's had. He's probably sorry about the people who are upset. He genuinely probably feels sorry about that. He probably knows that they proved his point about cancel culture, but he knows he can't say anything about that. But he wants to keep his job. So if I had to guess, that's probably where he stands on the issue. And I understand him wanting to keep his long success track record of this show, keep getting that check or whatever. But I wish that he would have had a more logical kind of reaction with his approach and just said, look, I didn't mean to excuse any kind of, racist history. I just thought it was important that we know someone's intentions before we label them a certain way, even though they might have been wrong in the thing that they did. Maybe she didn't understand, and I didn't fully understand the effect that this would have. So I apologize for, and I promise I will do a better job listening, but I think we can all use a little grace. Rachel Kirkconnell needed some, and I need some too, and we're all human. And I love this show because it's about finding love, and I hope that you all can find some in your heart for me. Just go on from there. And he's like, no, I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. And it's like, I guess when you lay down in the middle of the forest and cover yourself in bear propellant and say, come get me, I guess you're not a victim anymore, Chris. When you just let the bear eat you, sure, I guess you're not a victim. Yes, this woke police thing is real, and he was a victim. So he's getting counseling from Pastor Michael Dyson, who believes in counseling, not canceling. So that's what they're doing now. But the thing about this guy is that he's a bit of a race baiter. Like, that's his shtick. That's his genre of money. Like, that makes his living. He was on a panel with Jordan Peterson, and everything in the conversation that he had to contribute to had to be about race. And it was like a Canadian thing, and he had to talk about race. And like later on, like in another interview, Jordan Peterson was just like, I don't even know why he went on about that, because the same history with America isn't even the same that it is in Canada. So it's not even like the same culturally. But that's what he kept just bringing to the conversation. And he even like called Jordan Peterson like, why are you so mean and angry? You mean such a mean white man. And
on Jordan's point about how does he, in a sense, get an equal voice in this debate back if it is implied that his participation brings with it this baggage of white privilege that doesn't allow him to see clearly the issues that are before us.
But that is to be complicit in the very problem itself terminologically. You're beginning at a point that's already productive and controversial. You're saying, how can he get his equality back? Who are you talking about? Jordan Peterson, trending #1 on Twitter? Jordan Peterson with an international bestseller? I want him to tweet something out about me in my book. Jordan Peterson, right? This is what I'm saying to you. Why the rage, bruh? You're doing well, but you're a mean, mad white man, and you're going to get us right.
And with regards to my privilege or lack thereof, I mean, I'm not making the case that I haven't had advantages in my life and disadvantages in my life like most people. You don't know anything about my background or where I came from, and it doesn't matter to you because fundamentally I'm a mean white man. That's a hell of a thing to say in a debate.
The mean, mad white comment was not predicated upon my historical excavation of your past. It's based upon the evident vitriol with which you speak and the denial of a sense of equanimity among combatants in an argument. So I'm saying again, you're a mean, mad white man, and the viciousness is evident.
Okay.
like he just degraded all of the hatred or that people have toward Jordan, because it's obviously worked out well for him because he's successful and rich, and and he's like, you're always trending on Twitter, and he's like, yeah, most of those things are negative. So that's another thing with the left. They're like, how could you have been canceled? Look at where you are. Look at how many ratings you have. It's like, just because you didn't successfully murder me did not mean the attempt did not take place. They have that "did you die" mentality. So that's always fascinating when people go that route. It's like, what do you mean cancel culture? We didn't try. You survived. So like, it doesn't matter that we go after Ben Shapiro's sponsors. Look at him now. People talk about him. He's successful. Like, He just made a movie. What do you mean cancel culture? Like, don't act like you didn't try. Like, it's not a thing. But cancel culture can only exist as long as everyone plays along. And the most interesting thing after he like berated Jordan Peterson and, you know, he, in my opinion, he doesn't think that black people can be racist because of the institutional power jargon nonsense. But I thought he revealed himself to be, you know, saying some pretty racist things himself. But he's like, go visit Indian tribes and go visit black churches. And Jordan Peterson noted that he's actually like part of a family of indigenous people, and and you can't judge someone. But the thing that was interesting to me about him saying come to black church is like, I've been to a lot of black churches in my life. I've been to a lot of white churches in my life, just visiting, traveling, singing, and ministering, all other kind of stuff. And this whole like black church, white church thing, it seems like super exacerbated right now. But I don't know. I just never saw a difference like that. Like, you culturally, yes, you see differences like clapping differently, different types of music, respondingly differently to sermons. Like, maybe one crowd is more livelier than another. So I've definitely noticed differences, but people act like there's some kind of like biblical philosophy that's so different because the white church has ignored, I guess, the plights of the black community and stuff. And I know there's like churches that I guess function in that sort of way, like black liberation churches and stuff like that. But like that's never been, that's the whole victim mentality thing. It's just never been a part of the gospel for my lifetime experiencing it. I mean, I've always been part of the groups that's been like, we're the head, not the tail, above only, not beneath. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. With God, all things are possible. The victor, not victim mentality. Like, we are always like, hey, people who couldn't leave that slave mentality got left in the desert. That's what happened to the Israelites. And a lot of y'all need to get left in the desert if you can't focus on a way to move forward. And that's like a huge problem that I have with a lot of this philosophy of today is just like, when you start taking accountability for right now, for your actions right now, like when you stop blaming a system and say your decisions today matter right now for what you do for the rest of your life. And you can't blame the person before. You can't, especially because their ancestors did something or something because their grandfather or there's something like that. Like, everyone is accountable for their own actions. And we can understand history. I think it's great to understand history because we need to learn from it. But to constantly blame it for your shortcomings, that's not cool, and it's certainly not productive unless you're making money from it, which a lot of people are. And just another thing, like after the 2016 election, my boss, who was Ron McDaniel, who's in charge of the GOP now, she got an award, I believe was from the NAACP, an event, because they did a lot of black outreach that, you know, was started by the previous chair for her, but she like ramped it up. So she got an award, and Dyson was at that event, and he was the main speaker, I guess. And so he was reaming on Republicans and how dumb white Republican women were and all this other stuff, and just, you know, hamming up the crowd, getting them all like aggressive. And so my sister was there, and so she told me about all this stuff. And so Rana, she got up and she just, you know, totally didn't, you know, fight him or anything like that. She just came on, did her thing, and the crowd loved her. And my sister said she was just like the most fabulous she had ever seen Rana that night. But what a really trashy thing for Mr. Dyson to do that night, obviously, to someone else getting an award for their work outreaching to the black communities. I think it's, and I'll use their word, problematic that he's sort of learning about how to reconcile with the black community with Pastor Dyson, but a lot of people respect him. He's not my cup of tea. I wonder if Disney suggested him, ABC suggested him, or if that was something that Chris decided to do out on his own, and to say, hey, this is how I'm doing my penance, so please don't fire me from The Bachelor. It's just a crazy story all around. In other news, Jordan is going to be with Turning Point USA, which is kind of awesome, and I'm trying to find out more about it. You know, I started watching Becca's season because of the whole Garrett, like, oh, is he a Trump supporter thing? Did a Trump supporter win thing? And then I totally stayed for Jordan because Jordan was pretty darn funny, in my opinion. I'm interested to see where that goes. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please visit blacktnews.com to check out articles and other content that I have. Please check out the store. Please support. If you would like to buy something for someone else, buy a couple something for someone else's, or you could go ahead and leave a donation. I appreciate everyone who helps out to grow this thing. And you can do that just going to the website, or you can follow that link right there. You guys are awesome. Thank you for sharing, subscribing, liking, hitting the notification bells, and so on. And I will see you guys next time.